Hello, everyone. Welcome to an awesome day of FileMaker training. I'm Richard Carlton, creator of FMTraining.tv, where every day is an awesome day to learn about the Claris FileMaker platform. And so our normally scheduled show today has been preempted by people with much better hair than I have. I want to mention this is Todd Geist from Proofgeist and Todd Et, who is running the live stream with, she has the official Todd hair. I'm sure her IQ went up 50% by just having that hair. So I want all of you to know.
Other direction.
Oh, other direction. So she's 50%.
You flatter me, Todd. I am excessively flattered.
So we have a very exciting day today. So today and tomorrow are going to be awesome. And today and tomorrow are happening because of the that happened 2 months ago. Margaret, was it like 2 months ago? It's like
the first one was a couple months ago. Yeah.
It seems like, it
feels like years, but I think it was like
it was the latter part of July.
It was the latter half of July.
As we would say in my world, it was the beginning of fire season, right? So then that's how we know, like dog years, right? And so Todd is doing awesome stuff today. We were going to do this, but didn't get to it, and I'm sure he's improved it quite a bit. And then tomorrow is how to integrate proof chat, which I'm not sure is the best word to call it. Maybe I'm sure we
tried a million different things
because the word chat makes it sounds like it's just like,
yeah, but it's like ChatGPT. I mean, it's around. There's a lot of chat things.
That's true. Chat.
We tried a lot of combinations, and
yeah. So
it's hard to find names. Naming is hard.
Naming is hard because it makes it sound like, it doesn't matter. I'm not going to get into other things. So proof chat and starting point coming together. Todd's going to show you how to integrate it, but more importantly, we are going to get it integrated probably next week, and then put that into the default download of starting point. We want to put some basic AI stuff into starting point, and I'm going to have Todd help us with this. So I think today and tomorrow, both your minds are going to be blown by this. I'm very excited about this. And to help us with this, Todd, I guess we want to introduce Kyle
Duvall, whose secret hacker code name is Build Engineer Number 1.
Okay.
Yes. And that's because when we first hired him, his first big responsibility was he was the one who builds Otto. So he's the one who takes the code base and turns it into the installer that you install on your computers for OttoFMS. And also he's the main, and that was his first big responsibility, but now he's the main engineer behind OttoFMS and Auto Deploy. And so he's going to help me out with some of the new demos we have on model context protocol servers that we built into OttoFMS to make your FileMaker AI journey one step easier.
Okay, and my job today is to ask really stupid questions for people who have been paying attention. So that's going to be my.
Is that your job, or is that just your life? Like
it is my life for the most part, right? So yeah. So all right, cool. With that in mind, these recordings are being broadcast on triple cast on YouTube, Twitch, and Discord. The recordings of these will be made available. Any of the salacious rumors about will all be cut out of the videos. So if you're here and you're watching now, you're going to get the live, raw live stream. So with that in mind,
unfiltered,
baby,
which is really the only way to experience the Carlton family, to be quite honest.
Margaret, oh no, we're in big trouble. Okay,
I'm not dying, cat. Don't worry.
Anything else, and you're just missing out. Your life.
Margaret has a therapy cat that, in the event that there's a medical emergency, it runs over and starts doing CPR on Margaret if she's laughing too hard. So that's it. Just the cat went to battle stations just now because she thought Margaret was dying. So yes. All right. Well,
that's sweet kitty.
Yes. With that in mind, and we're unsupervised. Rick Kalman should be here. He's not here. So we're completely unsupervised today. So
are you suggesting the only adult in the room is Rick Kalman?
Pretty much.
That's a really big responsibility.
And Ernest Coe, but he ain't here either. So there you go.
I think he's watching.
It doesn't matter if he ain't here. It doesn't count, right?
Ernest is he's not. We should get him on here one of these times because he does. Not so much today, but tomorrow, the work that we show tomorrow, Ernest has had a lot of input into directly. He's had influence on OttoFMS as well, but it really improved chat is where the two of us have really collaborated quite a bit. And,
cool.
To make that happen. But today we're talking about MCP servers.
Okay, so
So-
don't forget to start
what is
off what the hell's an MCP?
I know. We're gonna. So MCP servers. So let me just give you an overview of what we're going to be covering in the next couple of days here. So the big thing is integrating FileMaker with chat or AI chat. Like I hope by now most people have at least experienced some kind of chat application, Claude or ChatGPT or Goose or one of the various other ones. They're popping up everywhere. They're pretty popular. They are pretty great. I use them for a lot of things, and we're going to talk about how to integrate those chat applications with FileMaker, or those chat experience with FileMaker. Today, we're going to cover using Claude, which is like ChatGPT, but it supports the Model Context Protocol client, which actually ChatGPT does now also. So they all support this. So we're gonna get into some of the nitty-gritties, and we're gonna dive into why and how you integrate this with your FileMaker system. So what do you always hear about chat? You type in you ask it questions, and sometimes it does what? It makes things up. It hallucinates.
Yes.
And so one of the things, and the reason is because it might not have the context to answer the question correctly. So trying to be helpful, it just says, hey, I'll make something up and maybe the user will be happy. So that's the hallucination problem. So the way you fix that is you fix the context, and the context is basically the data that's in the chat as you're typing and as you're asking questions. You make sure that's really good, then you get good answers back. And the other thing that you can do with these AI tools is you can actually give them capabilities. So you can, with your Claude or Goose or ChatGPT, you can have it do things on your behalf. So you can have it reach out and connect your applications and do stuff. And we'll actually show a demo of that in a minute. So we're going to look at two ways to do this. So one is MCP servers, and that is using Claude or ChatGPT or Goose or one of those, or Cursor, to integrate with your FileMaker applications. The other is to use Proof Chat, and the difference there is with Proof Chat, you're taking the chat UI and you're sticking it in your file. In the way we're going to look at it today, there's nothing going into your file except for FileMaker scripts. There's no chat UI. There's no layout modifications or things you have to do that. So in some ways, the MCP server is easier. You're just not going to get as tight an integration as you would with Proof Chat. So we're going to compare and contrast these over the next 2 days, and hopefully you'll see where it makes sense to do one versus the other. And so, okay, first of all, what is MCP? So MCP is a protocol, and I'll get this out of the way here. If you can go to this, I'll put this on I think I've already got it on the chat here. Here's the link to it there if you want. This is the website that covers what the MCP protocol is. And the keyword there, the 3 words in there are all key: model, because we're talking about large language model; context, which I just mentioned; and protocol. Protocol, like HTTP, hypertext transfer protocol, is what this is. It is a protocol to transmit information between a model and another server where it can get context. And that context provides the data, which allows the chat applications or the AI agents to give you better answers, right? And so when you want to get something out of your FileMaker database, you could just kind of hook it up, kind of naively and just say, like, get me my sales numbers, and it would just make something up, right? With a Model Context Protocol server in place, you can actually have it run a specific script which gives you exactly what your sales numbers are every time and return that to you instead of something it makes up. So this is about taking this probabilistic experience with chat, which is what chats are. They're basically predicting what you want to hear back from them, and adding deterministic code back into it to constrain down so that it gives you answers which make sense within the question that you're asking, right? So that's the challenge with programming with AI, is you get this beautiful creative aspect, but then you want to constrain it down to give you answers that make sense within the context of the questions you're asking, right? So that's what the Model Context Protocol is, and a Model Context Protocol server is like a web server, a server out there that serves up context and capabilities think APIs to these to any MCP client. In this case, we're talking about Claude. That's what we're going to show. So let me stop there. Is any of this making sense? Are we picking things up? Questions?
So this allows AI to interact with agents? Is that
It
essentially what you're
allows,
saying?
well, so agents are sort of another layer on top. We'll talk briefly about it. But yes, it's more like agents can use the model context protocol to communicate with other agents or with databases.
Got it. Okay.
Right? Yeah. And so the way that that works in terms of FileMaker, we talked about this a lot last time. We talked about tools. You want to give your AI the tools to do the correct searches that you want it to do and give you the data back that you want it to give you back. And so essentially another way to think about this in simple terms is you are providing tools that and you think of Claude as an agent. It is a chat agent. It's a little agent that can talk to you. And so that's what it is. You're giving it the tools to communicate with your database. That's basically it. Okay. So that's an MCP server. Now, Claris is going to be shipping these as part of their platform. So you're going to see this coming out. But we've decided to ship them in as part of the OttoFMS and the automatic platform that we have because, well, we can do it. It's relatively straightforward for us to do. And I think it's simpler. It's easy to do and I think adds some power. So we just went ahead and did it. So we're going to show that today. But first, let's take a look at this. So I talked a little bit about this. So MCP servers. I'm going to talk in this demo about 3. I got a My Google MCP server, which I made with N8N, which I'm also going to show. N8N is another platform, kind of like Claris Connect, but it's a little bit further along on this journey than Claris Connect is. I'm going to talk about Pieces, which is a MCP server that runs on my computer. I'm going to talk about Harvest, which is an MCP server that I wrote with TypeScript that communicates with our time tracking application, Harvest. Okay. Those are 3 different MCP servers. I've connected them all to Claude. And Kyle's going to show how to do that connection as we get into it. So I'm just going to show sort of after the fact a little bit. What you see when you've got servers connected is you'll see that under the search and tools here, you'll get these guys. So these are all the tools, the MCP servers that I've connected. And one of them is web search. You want this always on so that it can search the internet for you and find facts, right? Again, that's what they're doing. I'm going to turn off post hog. I don't need post hog in this context. So I'm going to use my Google Calendar, Harvest, and Pieces. What Pieces does is pretty cool. Pieces is actually constantly monitoring my desktop, including right now, and it's taking screenshots of everything that I do, and it creates AI summaries of everything that I do all day long. So the interesting thing is I can ask Claude, like, what have I been doing today? And give me a summary of that activity, right? Now, I want to be a little sensitive because I've been doing all kinds of things. Frankly, I don't know if I have my credit card information on the screen somewhere in here. So I'm gonna prompt Claude a little bit to say, I'm doing a demo, don't show anything sensitive. So I'm gonna put that in here first. And sometimes I like to use Super Whisper to talk to and just turn it into text because I can actually talk faster than I can type. So for example, I'm doing a demo, so please don't put anything on the screen that you might consider sensitive information. All right, so I'm going to let it plop that in here. So I'm going to say is, I want to know what I did today. So check my LTM long-term memory for a summary of my activities today. So now it's going to pop up a little tool icon here. Ask Pieces LTM. And so now it's looking at what I've been doing all day, and it's going to give me a summary of that. This is pretty cool, right? Like, I didn't write any of this.
This is an insane list of day-to-day adventures that you've had already.
Right. And so but here's the thing. I can ask this about last Tuesday.
Oh.
Right? And it'll still give me this. So the task that I'm going to do here today is I'm going to do my timesheet for today. I'm going to do my harvest timesheet here. I'm going to pull up my little harvest app, and we're going to see this date fill in here in a second. Usually I do my timesheets at the end of the week now because I can go back and very carefully, easily track what I've been up to. So let's add a little bit more information to it. Let's say, look at my, so let's talk. I'm faster talking. Okay, check my calendar for events that I am doing today. Today is 9/25. And give me a summary of the events that have appeared in my calendar. So now it's going to look at my calendar. And one thing about LLMs that's interesting is you have to be careful with, if you wanted to do things by date and you say today, it could be in a different time zone, right? Like it's not exactly where you are. So one of the things I did is I gave it a tool to get the current time from my calendar, which is in my time zone. So it's getting even better. So here it is. Look, Richard Carlton podcast. Look, I've got a doctor's appointment after this. I got a messed up shoulder. I got to go get checked out. So this is what's going on with my calendar. All right. So finally, I'm going to say, okay, let's work on my timesheet today. Check my my harvest for any time entries I've made today, and suggest a list of time entries that I should be entering into my timesheet today. So it's going to go and pull up a bunch of stuff. I haven't logged any. Oh my goodness. So check this out. It now starts to develop a list of things that I need to do, that I need to enter, right? So now I can say, usually I would double check this, like just mentally go through and make sure the projects look correct and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to move kind of fast so we can move through this. But typically what I do is I review it and I might make some tweaks and say, like, change this to a different time. But now what I'm going to do is, okay, create all these time entries for me. So it's now going to start doing this. Should be. Here we go. Look at that. Boom. Pretty sweet, right?
That's pretty cool.
I can see Richard silently mouthing "wow" over there.
Yes, I'm
His
very,
mind is
very
sufficiently
wow,
blown.
wow, wow, wow.
Your headset is flipped up, by the way.
Wow, wow. Is that better? Wow, wow.
Yes.
Pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That's extremely cool.
Really cool. So now it's relatively easy for me to do my timesheets. I can keep up to date very easily because I just do it here. And it's what I notice is I'll put like specific events on my calendar if I want to make sure to record this event for later. I can just throw some notes in there about the project, what I was working on, and it'll include all that in the billing. It'll include that in the billing notes. Look at all this. This is exactly what I was doing. Exactly what I was doing, right?
Nice.
Pretty nifty.
That's
So that is what MCP servers do, is they form this glue layer between these different applications: Harvest, a time tracking app; Pieces, which is running on my desktop; and my Google Calendar, which is an MCP server I built using N8N. So I'm going to show that particular thing in just a second. But before I do, questions or comments?
Yeah. So let's go to Google. Obviously, my Google Calendar is your calendar events. When you were making notes about the stuff you were doing, you were putting those where?
So I wasn't having to make those notes because Pieces, the Pieces MCP server that runs on my computer,
that was taking screenshots of your computer.
it's writing the notes for me.
Okay, so if I'm actually yelling at, say, let's see, Ryan McCann, and yelling at him,
It's not listening to you. It's
I know,
watching your
but
screen.
I'm texting back and forth like
Yes.
what, this is unacceptable. Da 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 da. It's gonna read what I was doing on the screen through screenshots and reproduce the notes. I mean,
you could go like this. You could say, okay, I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks ago. I was emailing Ryan and giving a whole bunch of crap about X, Y, and Z. Can you find the day and time when I made that email so I can go find it? And it will tell you. It'll find it.
Okay, can I ask the question that everyone's wondering about right now is what about the security implications of
so
this thing?
good question, right? So
Yeah, the first comment that I have
important.
is Big Brother is watching you. So
Well, so the first thing is, so this the Pieces MCP server is running on my computer, right? It's not.
Oh,
It's running on my computer.
so it's not going to the internet
No,
somewhere.
it's everything's done locally on my computer.
Mm.
And that's one of the reasons, though, that I want to go through this time entry and review it carefully, right? I want to make sure that something, that I was, babysitting the neighbor's dog or whatever isn't swept up in my timesheet.
Bill the neighbor 2.5 hours at $400 an hour for your dog.
So you definitely, but this is an important thing to understand. This is an issue with MCP servers. There is a not insignificant security thing that you have to pay attention to with MCP servers. Absolutely, you do. You have to think carefully about what you're exposing. Now, the pieces thing is nice because it's running all locally on my computer. I just plug it into Claude, which is again running locally on my computer. And then I can use it to pull out the data that I want and send it to other things. So in this scenario here, I don't need to have some corporate thing watching my computer. That's me. And then I use Claude to take the data from what I did each day and create the timesheet and the billing notes that go so that we can bill our customers, basically. Right?
So back up. But Claude's still on the internet. So Claude is.
That's
so
right.
Claude is downloading the necessary screenshots and then
no, Claude is just getting this information. It's getting this.
Okay.
Yeah.
As Pieces is extracting the information from the screenshots to store in its memory.
Yeah.
So then when you ask Pieces
how
about something,
intensive
Pieces
is
looks it up
that?
and
I
sends
mean,
information.
It's kind of intensive, but it's worth it in my opinion. Richard, I'm 58. I forget stuff a lot. Like
no kidding.
Now I can say I'm really interested in big giant expedition trucks. Like I want one of those big pickup trucks that you can drive off into the wilderness for a month without having to come back.
It. Yeah, perfect. Yeah.
So I'll be like, oh, what was the name of that? I was looking for this expedition. I found this really cool one. It was on some website. I can't remember. So I just asked Pieces, and Pieces goes, yeah, that was Wanderbox. And I'm like, cool, man. Wanderbox. That's where I want to go. I literally couldn't remember the name of this. This actually happened to me. Pieces was like, yes, it knows. I was looking for expedition vehicles. It says, here's the URL that you can go click it and you're there. You can find it.
That's nice.
Pretty great. Pieces.app is the URL. Pieces.app. All right. That is Wanderbox. That is
there's a question about whether it's in a local server or not, or if that's off floating.
N8N. So N8N is a service like Claris Connect. You can run it. There's a service you can just rent it from them in the cloud, or you can self-host it. So I'm going to show the self-hosted version. And if N8N, if you want an N8N, you go to this website. You can log in and get it hosted, and it looks like this. You get this kind of a flowchart thing you build, right? So let's look at the one that I built here for calendar. So this is my MCP server. And the way you do that is this is an MCP node. And so you just go over here and you say MCP trigger. Oh, I've already got one on this, so I can't do that. I got another empty I'm going to come over here and work on this in a minute.
One down. But
or maybe I didn't. So this, you click MCP server and you got an MCP server on the screen, right? So that's what I did over here in the calendar. I got an MCP server and you click this button and you pick tools. So you can pick all kinds of tools, including FileMaker. So there is a built-in FileMaker one and you can use that, or you can use our OttoFMS one, which we're going to look at in a little bit. And you can connect up to FileMaker and that becomes a tool. And I didn't actually point out tools, actually. Let me drive one step deeper in Claude here. So we looked at, these are the servers, but if you click in, you can see these individual tools, right? And so these individual tools are, where did I do with did I close mine? No, here. So these, right, 6 are these 6. Make sense? Okay. And so now you just connect these, up. And so you go into each one like here. So I've got find events on my calendar. And it's just one of these things where you click, you pick one of the things you want to connect to, right? Airtable, whatever. What is another, QuickBooks. You pick whatever thing you want, you connect it. You have to fill out some forms to get it all lined up correctly. And then you've got an MCP server that connects to your tools, whatever they are, including FileMaker.
Got it. Okay.
Okay. So N8N is pretty cool. I would, Claris is working towards this. They've got stuff in the works to do this kind of thing. I would just say that for right now, today, if you want to kind of get a grasp of what MCP servers are, also agents, because they've got like agents, you can just put an agent on the screen and you can hook up your agents to these guys. And now you have software agents that can control these tools, etc.
So this is an end market product that's shipping.
Yes,
right
this is
now,
available.
Right?
N8N. You can pay for it or you can self-host it.
And there's not currently an equivalent with Claris, which
not yet, although they are working with it. They are working.
Yeah, but the
towards
point is that it's yes. Okay.
What I like about N8N, and I think it's useful just to learn and understand this stuff. It's a good tool to do that because it kind of makes it very visual, and you kind of get a feel for how the data, I saw that click for you, Richard, when I pointed out that these 6 tools are these 6 tools, right?
Yes, yes.
You see tools right here, right?
Yes.
And so now you can just add tools, and so it's a quick way to start to learn how to do this. And N8N has a FileMaker node built in. We've got a different one that we're going to show you, and there's reasons for that. Well, hopefully I'll get a chance to cover some of those, but
this is pretty huge. I mean, the show could be over right now and everyone would be going, oh my God, I need more of this. So,
yeah,
I mean, because this is instead of talking about AI in a hypothetical kind of floaty bullshit sort of way, like, oh, well, this is a concrete, practical, immediate use case.
Yeah.
And probably half the people watching this could use this right now today.
And then, you'll learn the concepts. And then when Claris ships the stuff for the Claris platform, you'll be all set to go, and you'll understand it, and it'll make sense. And Claris's integration is going to be much tighter with FileMaker than this will be. So you'll get some advantages from that, kind of like what we're seeing with Studio, So but anyway, I just think that N8N is just a really great way to learn about MCP servers and how to get started with this whole idea. I think, any more questions?
I was going to say questions, Margaret, because there's got to be about 5,000 of them.
I mean, we've got questions, but I also think a lot of people are like, a comment from Rob Polking, the N8N FM tool utilizes FM DAPI, not OData.
Yeah, that's right. And so we're going to use OData because it's more performant.
Yes. How often does Pieces take screen captures? How much storage do you need for months of screen captures?
A lot. But here's the thing. Again, I'm 58 years old. My memory needs all the help. I will buy disk space.
Todd, does it keep the screen grabs? Or does it extract the information? Does it keep
I
the
think
screen
it just
capture,
extracts the information. I don't think it actually stores the images. Yeah. It just is reading it. It's reading your screen and making
some OCR or something. Yeah.
Does make.com work too?
Probably. There's a lot of these things in the N8N. There's make.com. There's something called Gumloop, I think. It's Gumloop? It might be Gumloop. That seems weird. That seems like Gumroad and something else, but is it Gumloop? It is. AI Automation Framework. Yeah. There's another one. There's a lot of these. Take your pick, whatever resonates with you. The main thing is to get familiar with how this works, because there is a whole nother layer on top of this, which is trying to figure out how to make these things, again, they'll make stuff up. So a big part of what we do in making AI solutions is figuring out how to rein them in, and so that they do the things you want them to do, and they add value instead of just, hallucinating all the time. So that's the next step. But in order to get to that, you have to get some familiarity with just how to connect the dots, And so that's what I like about N8N is it's very clearly connecting the dots very clearly, right? That's just a nice obvious thing. So anyway, that's an and we're going to come back to this if we have time. I don't know if we will. I am going to we'll turn this over to Kyle. So while Kyle's getting ready, I'll set the stage a little bit. What we want to do here is, what if one of the things you could add here was FileMaker Server Admin API?
Hmm.
What if this was one?
Hmm.
Boom, right? What if this was a thing? What might you be able to do if you had a FileMaker server, a FileMaker admin MCP server? So now you could maybe control your FileMaker server and get information off your FileMaker server from Claude or Goose or ChatGPT.
Well,
What if?
I mean, just in terms of like how long Fred's been logged into the file, or I mean, I'm trying to think about.
Yeah, so we're early, we're exploring. Well, Kyle's going to show this, and so why don't I just stop and then let Kyle get
Okay.
into it? But basically, we've exposed a number of the admin APIs and the AutoFMS APIs to an MCP
Which is
server.
big on updating your solutions and
Well,
pushing
it's not just that. It can
updates.
also list files, close files, encrypt files, download clones, send, all kinds of stuff.
Oh, so
So,
instead of you going to the admin, you just tell Claude that, hey, it'd be really great if I had a copy of this blah 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 database.
and so why does that matter? Let me share back my screen back just for 1 second. I think because I think this will help connect the dots. We talked about an AI agent, right? And I can throw an AI agent on here. And now I can have an AI agent that can do things, not just chat, but could respond to emails or text messages or whatever. But one of the things I can add to it is an MCP client tool, which could be my FileMaker server. So now I have an agent that can control my FileMaker server.
Well, yeah,
Which
yeah,
could
that's what I'm saying. That you could talk to Claude and have it
not just
administrate.
Claude. I can also have I could have just a thing that's watching my FileMaker server, and if like something goes haywire, I could restart it, right? So now we're looking at
Oh,
beyond Claude. MCP is a protocol to connect your FileMaker server to Claude or any other software agent.
wait. So you could have like an ongoing administrative service called AutoCalman, which just watches your FileMaker server and then it restarts the server or whatever. I
Yeah,
mean,
exactly. That's where
because
we're headed.
it's watch because okay,
So we would have to have it respond to events,
yeah.
but we certainly that's possible to do. And then it can take actions. It can figure out what to do and take actions like restart stuff and things like that, right? So again, the MCP part is about connecting agents, software agents, to things like your FileMaker server, right? And so now you can have agents which can monitor your server and take actions on that server if you wanted it to.
Yeah,
Or
go
you
ahead.
can use chat to chat with your server, which is what
Yeah.
Kyle's going to show.
Yeah, this is right in the middle of what Claris Connect was kind of supposed to do. So, all right. All
right, Kyle.
Kyle, no pressure.
Here we go. So we're going to talk about two different kinds of MCPs. The first one is the admin MCP. The admin MCP is currently available for you to use in the shipping version of AutoFMS 4.12.0, which is the most recent version.
Okay.
So I'm going to walk you through how to set it up really fast. It's relatively simple. So I'm going to copy this JSON blob right here. This is on the AutoFMS docs.autofms.com. Under features, admin MCP, you can also just search for MCP, and it's going to be the only page that pops up. There's some details about how to configure this in other places as well.
Okay.
I'm going to hop into Claude. We're going to do, this is in my settings, under settings here, and then under developer. Claude has just like a JSON config file you edit for this. I'm going to open that up. We're just going to pop up this massive screen. Let's make that smaller. You can see all of my AutoFMS development going on this screen. That's exciting. So this has an MCP server key here, which we're just going to put this into like that. We're going to save that. My custom name is going to be demo prod. And my server host name is demo dash prod dash k automatic, if I can spell. And then I need an admin API key. You can get an admin API key from AutoFMS. I'm gonna grab one from here. This one that
we've
says
done
do
that
not
before, I
delete
remember.
big letters.
Yep.
And then I'm gonna move this over here so you can't see my admin API key, because that would be unfortunate. Oh, that's a data API key even. Oops. It's an admin API key.
That's why we
we'll
have
save
AK
that.
and DK on the front of those.
Right.
You
We'll
get
save
burnt
that.
on
We'll
them.
close that file. Once you do this to Claude, you have to like quit and restart Claude.
Now, Claude.
So,
Okay.
Claude is like
ahead.
ChatGPT
Were
if
you
you
gonna
haven't
say,
used it.
Yeah, but it normally runs in the web. Is this he's talking
No,
like
you can get a desktop version. You want the
this
desktop
is Claude
version.
Desktop.
okay, because you say restart Claude. I'm like, well, how the hell are you going to restart some online web service somewhere? So
Yeah,
okay.
I'm using the desktop app. And you'll see in here now there should be a demo prod
Okay,
MCP server.
got it.
If you click on this, you'll see all the tools. There's a bunch of them. You can list files, you can open and close and pause, you can delete them, you can get download links, you can encrypt and decrypt and get an XML and
All the normal
compress
stuff you can
them
do with
and
the command line. Okay, got it.
with the command line as well as with the admin API. So you can get server info, you can get information about AutoFMS deployments, you can undo deployments, you can get information about builds, you can rerun builds, there's a bunch of stuff. You can restart your FileMaker services, things like that. So almost all of them are things that you can do from the AutoFMS console, but we've made them so that you can do them as MCP as well. So I'm going to say, hey, what files do I have on my server?
Yeah. As dumb as that is, that comes up all the time.
It does. And you know, like if you're like I have Claude open all day. I'm using it all day long. So if I have my tools connected, like I don't usually go to Harvest anymore. I just talk to Claude to like update my timesheet. I don't actually log into Harvest and look at it, right? Because this is always open. Like this is always available to me. So there you go.
Okay.
You'll see I have 15 files. My big one's this one called Big File. And there's some other information down here. MCP starting point we'll see again later. And I am currently connected to that file, so it has one client. I'm not sure who's connected to Task Manager. It's kind of fun. And I should, let's play around with the file I don't care about as much. So let's say, hey, can you get me the information from the server sample file? And it'll say, oh, here's the information about the FM server sample.
Notice it always asks you to confirm.
I
the
was
tool.
about
get
to
me a
ask
download
about
link.
that. Yeah.
Yeah,
so-
because you could be like, you know, I mean, this is again the security issue. There aren't any MCPs that connect you to banks yet, but you can imagine, right? Like, I mean, this is a new world, and we do have to think about that. I don't want I make a joke, but
No, I'm sure there's an AI that's going to clean out the piggy bank.
Well,
at
I was
some
also
point.
just thinking about like you say delete in the wrong spot or something.
Yeah,
and it's
exactly.
Like I'm just gonna go delete the FileMaker
Yeah.
file. So I'm
And you
glad I
can-
asked you.
I will also call out, you can disable tools. So if you never want to delete a FileMaker file, you're like, please don't delete my files. You can just turn it off.
Ever.
Claude doesn't know about it anymore. It doesn't know it exists. You
Doesn't
can
have
also
the
like,
option.
if you don't want it to accidentally restart your database server, you can turn that tool off.
Okay.
So there's some things like that. And you can
Right.
also just like disable all of them and then turn on the ones you want. So this has told me this thing about the FM server sample file. I'll be like, okay, cool. Okay, let's encrypt that file with the test encryption key. I should have used a file I knew the credentials for. Let's hope the credentials are admin. And it says, probably going to tell me, you need more information. Ooh, or it's just going to go for it. It's going to go share ID 1. There we go, that works. And this is going to run it in place, which is just going to take the file and encrypt it on top of itself. So it'll make a copy and then replace the file. This might fail because I actually don't know if those are the right credentials. Yeah. So this is going to fail because the credentials are wrong. And then it's going to try again.
And see, look, it
for some
told you
reason.
like the password's wrong, so you need to, yeah.
And I'll deny this call because I don't want it to try with blank passwords. So let's just double check if I have a different file on here I can use. I could do this through Claude, but how many of my test files on here? Intriguing. Well, Oh, that's a different
Can
file.
you upload a file through Claude?
I could upload a file. You can't upload through Claude.
Okay.
Here, let me grab a file from a different server really fast.
So, so Claude or any MCP client or any software agent can now control your FileMaker server. For better or worse, I should say.
Okay, we have a file I know the credentials for now. How exciting. I've just added a test API MP12 file. Let's encrypt that one instead. Use the above credentials. Oh my gosh, if I could spell. There we go. So this will say, let's encrypt that instead. We'll use the test encryption key. We'll do it in place. Here's your password, yada, yada, yada. Allow. It'll tell you all the stuff. If you just like click the allow always, it won't give you the preview of what it's going to send. It'll just send it, which is fine for some things, but for stuff like encrypting and decrypting.
There you
So
go.
now this is encrypted. And if you go over to here and I close this, you'll see my test API file is now encrypted. And then I'll be like, oh, could you get me an XML of that? It'll think, oh, let me save that as an XML. I already know all the information about it. Let's allow that. It'll run.
Those save as XMLs are really great for FM comparison. Be able to see changes and things like that.
This is the XML
great.
2.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's see. It says it's giving me a download link. It didn't actually print out my download link, but it should be in here. So
you just ask it to print the download link, it'll do it.
Could you print that download link? And it'll say, here's your download link, which is this ginormous link. Sometimes it makes them nicely formatted. Sometimes it doesn't. I'll open that, which will open my browser, which will download me this XML file, which I'm really not entirely sure where it's going to open. Ooh, Safari.
There you go.
So here's my XML, which is, ginormous. And then I'll say, it looks like my server is being weird. Can you restart the HTTP server? It'll go, oh yeah, let's restart that. And it'll say, I'm going to restart the HTTP server. Allow. This is going to go off. It's going to restart my HTTP server. It's going to come back. We're not going to see anything change because it's really fast. So my HTTP server won't really do much. Take a second because it has to run the command line, which takes a second sometimes. But so you can do a bunch of stuff with the admin tool. You can also, like, if you're running OttoFMS deployments and you run a deployment that takes 3 hours and it fails 3 hours in, and you don't want to read the 120 lines of log that it sends back, you can say, hey, what happened with my last deployment? And it'll get your last deployment. It'll say, oh, look here on line.
See, there you go. So yeah,
30 of your logs, it's done this thing.
Yeah, Todd started us off with a really great use case for this tech. And then Otto, I was looking for I was just thinking this right when you open your mouth, Kyle. And I was thinking, like, what's the use case for this? I mean, it really matters, right? Like digging out what I did for the day or the week and my time logs. Perfect. Wonderful. But with the, encrypt the server, give me a backup, but checking the logs and finding a comparison discrepancy between the log would be a good one.
I think
So
I think the more you play with these tools, the more you'll see how they begin to build on each other. So for like when I did that process where I actually connected 3 different services together, you can start to build workflows like that. And maybe one of your workflows might be download a copy of this file, as part of some process and like send it somewhere. Like these are the kinds of things that you're able to do when you can build these kind of workflows with something like N8N or some other tool. You need to have the hooks into the FileMaker server to do that. So the admin MCP is kind of like an API, right? Like if it's an API, you still got to write the web code or something to connect to that API. And that's going to do the work for you. So the API isn't necessarily like the coolest thing in the world because you still have to write a web app or write some other, or use N8N or something to like do something with the API, right? So an MCP server is like an API that agents can understand. And so it's plugging the FileMaker server into this whole new agentic AI powered ecosystem that we have springing up all around us. So the more you do here, the more you'll sort of see like, oh yeah, I just want everything to have an MCP server. I just want
I want my whole life to be on an MCP server. Yeah.
I'll
I
also
just want
call
everything to
out
be there. So I
most
can
of
do
the
all
stuff
that, you
this
know?
MCP server is doing can be done through the AutoFMS API. So if there are things that you can't do through this MCP server because I haven't put the tools in for it yet, you could make an MCP server in N8N that uses AutoFMS or admin API to do things on your server, right? The authentication's a little bit harder and you have to manage a lot of that yourself. So there's a lot of utility for using the built-in AutoFMS one because you just like type in an admin API key and you're off to the races. But you could build it in N8N for custom tools. I guess, Todd, do you want to move on to the new
Yeah, I think so.
not
Let's just
available
see if
version?
there's any questions, Margaret, anything from the peanut gallery out there before we move on.
I can connect WhatsApp to FileMaker through N8N. So if I ask in a WhatsApp chat, it will go to FileMaker to search the answer.
Yeah,
So,
you will be able to do that actually. There's a number of ways to do that. You wouldn't necessarily need an MCP server for that because you can go straight from WhatsApp to FileMaker, like around, you don't have to go through an MCP server. An
mhm.
MCP server is really about when you want to interact with a large language model, right? It's model context protocol. If you know exactly the workflow you want it to follow, then you don't really need, you don't need a model in the middle, right? You already know what it is. What the model brings is I can wire things together. The model can figure out how to make things connect. So you as a developer don't have to, right? Like going back to my example where I did those 3 different things, I didn't write any integration between Google Calendar, my pieces thing running on my computer, and Harvest. I didn't have to write that particular integration at all. Claude managed that because it got enough context from those tools to figure out how to wire that up itself, right? And so that's where the savings come in, is that you're not having to write every single workflow that you can possibly imagine. You just have the connectors like the MCP server and AutoFMS or an MCP server built in N8N, and now your model can figure out what to do with that stuff.
Let me reframe this, Todd, and just say it a different way. So there was a guy in the San Francisco Bay Area, and I still don't know if he's doing FileMaker or not. His last name was Manning, really sharp guy in the Bay Area, and he was a huge fan of AppleScript. It doesn't really matter, but he would do SMS text messages, and his FileMaker copy of Pro talking to server would be listening to SMS. Be listening to the SMS conversation, and he'd be having a conversation with Dappy, doing a search for data or adding a record, things like that. So what we're saying is do a large language model add-on, right? And so it can interpret that stuff for you.
It can, right? Like it can figure out what things to call, so you don't have to write a bunch of if statements, and have to keep those up to date, right? Because it can actually say, oh, and this person could use whatever terminology they want to communicate their intent.
Yes, and that was the point, because he had to use very specific string of precise, and the large language model allows you to be kind of like,
that's right.
Like Kyle, to your point, you were spelling things incorrectly. The AI, I know you were going back and fixing it, but the AI should have figured out what you were saying.
It would have.
Yeah, it would have been fine.
It wouldn't care.
And you also noticed, like, I didn't even supply all the information for the encryption one.
Yeah.
I didn't supply the shared ID. I didn't call out that I wanted it to be in place. It just said, oh, cool, I'll put in a shared ID of 1 and use in place.
Yeah.
And if I didn't want a shared ID of 1, I could have gone back and told it not to, but that was fine. So it does a lot of kind of extrapolation of the things that you need and figuring out of where you want to go. So you don't have to know, oh, I need to use the download tool. You can just say, hey, can you give me a download link? And it'll do it.
Yeah, because otherwise, I mean, if you have Claude and you want to download the file, maybe if you're a FileMaker server expert, you know how to do that. But if you just have Claude and the MCP in there, you just say, hey, can I get a clone of this file? And it'll say, here's a link. That's it. Boom, done.
Yeah, this is big. This is big.
It can figure out the intent of what you want, and then it can figure out what data it needs to extract from the intent, and it can figure out what tool to call with that data to do what you're asking. That's model context protocol. That's the whole thing. And that's the magic of MCP servers.
This is really big stuff.
Yeah,
Margaret,
big.
go. Yeah.
I think that answered the earlier question about MCP being a substitute to API, which is that it's not.
It is essentially.
Well,
It's
it
an-
is? Okay.
It's
well,
an
it's
API
often
that
built on top of APIs,
Yeah.
but it's a protocol. Like, so APIs are built on the HTTP protocol.
Mm-hmm.
Model context protocol is another. The way the internet works, I think I talked about this before. The internet is built on layers.
Mm-hmm.
There's UDP, TCP, HTTP, then there's APIs, and now there's model context protocol. All of those layers below are still required, where we're just building more on top of it, right? So the model context protocol runs over HTTP. So HTTP runs over TCP, right? So the TCP is like the base layer there.
Yep.
HTTP runs on top of that.
Yep.
And then on top of that is the model context protocol. They're different layers. And so the model context protocol is like an API, but it's designed for LLMs to figure out the intent and figure out what you want to do and figure out what to do with it.
Todd, go back to your diagram real quick. So I want to, because
Which
my
diagram?
brain, the first one where you showed the MCP talking to Harvest and
Yeah.
Magical Beaver and whatever else it was doing. That
This one.
Okay. So where is the MCP? Each of those is an MCP
Yes.
server.
Yes. And so they can live, you can run them either on your desktop, which this one is running here, or these guys are running in the cloud.
So stop. If I want to glue in the demo it doesn't make any sense, but let's pretend I want to glue in Kyle's demo into this shoe.
Yeah.
Then where is the MCP server that talks to OttoFMS? Where's that at?
It's in OttoFMS. So when you install OttoFMS on your server, there's an MCP server in it.
Okay.
Because it's right.
Because the MCP server,
it's part of the same app.
Okay.
when I did the config, you saw me put in a URL. The URL is to the MCP server path in AutoFMS.
Yeah.
So you say, hey, my MCP server lives at this URL. Use this authentication to communicate with it.
That was
And
some
it makes calls to there.
that was some fast kung fu. I trust that it was there. I'm just
I was
what
doing
it's a
this
what it
URL.
is I'm having mental discoveries like late in the show, and I'm going back to the diagrams at the beginning to make sure I understand what pieces are. Okay.
Well, actually, if we get to a demo at the end, I can maybe try to reconnect that. But
Okay. That's fine.
MCPs are another API layer on top of HTTP.
Okay.
That
Cool.
is a reasonable thing to think about to
Okay.
put them. It's the next
The
higher
way-
level. It allows the
way I-
LLMs to use them.
The way I kind of think about them is that the MCP servers are outside of an LLM, and they're a place that an LLM can go look to see what it can do or what information it can get.
Yeah.
So you tell them, this is the URL you want to look at, this is how you authenticate, and it says, cool, and then it goes and looks. So when you load up Claude Desktop says, these are all of your connections, it lists all the tools there, and it gets back what it can do.
Okay, stop for a second. So the diagram to make this diagram. Okay, hang on. I got to draw here. Stand by for Richard intervention here. All right, so there should be a box here. I know it says 8 in N, but that's really a box in here, right? And it goes
It's
to 8 in N.
It's running on one of our automatic servers because we have it self-hosted.
Right, I know,
on
but
automatic.
8 Nancy in November, whatever. And then it talks to Google up here. So it's
That's
really
right.
like that. Okay.
Yeah, there's
And
a
then-
Google thing over there somewhere. Yeah.
And then on your local computer, you have the local app, which is your pieces thing, which is basically your computer screenshot snitchy thing that takes pictures of what you're doing all day. And is the pieces itself have a MCP in it? Or
It does. Yes.
So it has a built-in. So here it's one thing.
It's one thing.
And
Yeah.
Harvest over here, is it separate or built into Harvest?
So Harvest is an MCP server that I wrote and I host, and it connects to the Harvest API.
Okay. So
Okay.
really, for everyone to understand, really, we have a legacy, like a calendar or a
Yes.
QuickBooks, or we have a legacy thing, and in between there is going to be an MCP
Yes.
server in between. And then over here, Margaret, is the large language model. Okay, sorry. I just have to really understand this. So
Yeah, no, that's very good. That's very helpful. It's this idea of layering, right? So TCP, HTTP, APIs, MCP.
Yeah, so it's
they
a
all work on
layer
the previous
between
layer below that.
Yeah, layer between the AI doing whatever it does. Yeah. Okay, sorry. This was all right. I know everyone else had this already figured out, but I'm just kind of catching up. So sorry about that. Yeah.
Yeah,
No
so
problem.
some of the MCPs are built into an application and work directly with it, and some of them are essentially kind of a proxy layer that translates from LLM speak into API speak.
Yeah, so it could be
Yeah.
separate or integrated
Yeah.
if someone was thinking that far
And
ahead when
so-
they built it. Yeah.
Yep.
Right. Both of the AutoFMS ones we're going to talk about are more of the proxy type. Some of the parts of the AutoFMS one aren't proxy, and some of them are, because some of the things are running directly in AutoFMS, and some of them are going to the admin API. But
Hey, stop a second. Stop with Otto just for a second. How do I get Claude to dig shit out of FileMaker? There's that tomorrow.
We're
I'm so
gonna
glad
do
you
that
asked.
next.
Oh,
We're doing
okay.
it right
'Cause
now.
I'm like, quit talking about Otto. I want Claude to talk to an MCP server that talks to
Well,
my
in
database.
this case, we're going to show you how to do it with Otto, so you have to live with that.
Oh, shit. Okay. All right. No.
Doc, can I have the screen
I
back?
can
You can
only
do
get
it-
so
you-
excited about restarting the server. I mean, just to be
I
clear.
understand.
You can do it. Well, it's because you don't develop anymore, Richard. You're all
I know. Mostly I have one customer and I do develop there. Yes, thank you very much.
So, I am in a super secret test version of AutoFMS right now that nobody has access to except for me and me alone. However, it will be released soon.
Nice.
This is 4.13.0 unreleased test version. You'll see a new tab that none of you have ever seen before on the left side of my screen called MCP Servers. If I
Okay.
click on it, it will take me to this screen which says nothing is here, which is very sad. So to fix that, we'll create a server. So MCP servers in AutoFMS are connected to a single FileMaker file via OData. So I'm going to choose a FileMaker file. Mine one is called MCP Starting Point. It's a copy of Starting Point.
Okay.
I'm going to call this Starting Point. Very exciting MCP server name.
All
And
right.
this one is going to be an MCP server that works with my contacts in Starting Point. And this has a few config options. It has a slug. This slug is basically just it only affects the URL that gets generated that you can use
Okay,
this for,
sorry.
essentially.
Now I get it. So we're the MCP server. We're just hosting it in Otto,
Yeah.
but we're going to any. Okay, never mind. This
It's
is
still going to
this is what
FileMaker.
I wanted to do. This is fine.
Okay.
Where the
Still going
MCP
to
server
FileMaker.
lives, I don't care about. Yeah.
You
Come
don't
on.
really. It's just
Yeah.
got to be out there somewhere.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's just gotta be
in
out
terms
there.
of security, you want to know.
Yeah. But just
But
for today. yes.
in terms of like how things fit together, it doesn't matter. But in terms of security and what data is available where, you definitely want to understand these things.
Yeah.
And AutoFMS is a super convenient place to have one because we already have data API keys. So
Oh yeah. You
I'm going to create this
Fine.
server.
Mm.
I'm going to close this little pop-up that says I created a server.
Okay.
In my API keys tab, I already have a data API key for Starting Point, which is my bottom one here, MCP Starting
Hey, how
Point.
come this is
MCP
already
key
isn't
that
already
has to be
built into
enabled for
FileMaker?
OData.
They are
question.
going to add it. It's coming.
Okay. I'm sure I could test
Um,
it. I've got to get the other test versions.
If and when you get access to this, I'd recommend your data API keys also enabled for the data API because it will make some things easier.
Yeah, so we
Mm.
have our data API keys can simultaneously authenticate you to both OData and data API.
Okay,
And
good.
that's
That's
useful
nice. Yeah.
because you can get different information from them. OData
Which you'll
is
see in a
faster,
second.
but the data API gives you more metadata.
So I have one API key set up for my MCP starting point.fmp12 file. When I click on adding tools, so this MCP server is currently empty. If I connected it to something, it would be like, this doesn't do anything. Why'd you connect me
No
to this?
tools.
And you can toggle on and off here. But so I click add tool, it'll pop up this nice screen. I'll say, this tool is going to be called create contact.
Yeah.
And then it's going to create me a new contact in the database. And then I get to choose a FileMaker script name. This has every script in my database.
Okay.
Very long.
And starting point scripts. There you go.
I've conveniently named mine MCP underscore. So we're going to start with MCP underscore create contact.
Okay.
And then you define an input schema, which tells the LLM what it should send. So let's go
Or
check
what
out
it
my
could
file.
send. What it could send.
What it
Or
could
what it
send,
needs to
yes.
send.
What it needs to send and what it could send.
Okay.
So you can say if they're required or not.
Mm.
I'm just going to show you this script really fast because it'll let us see what things we need. So this is just, I took the generate contact records script and just
We
took a bunch of stuff out of it.
Okay.
You'll see here that I get in a script parameter.
Yep.
This script parameter is a JSON object that has keys. It has 5 available keys, which are the first name, last name, cell phone, email, and website.
Okay.
So those are the things I need to add to my MCP server tool. So in here, I'll say add a parameter. We'll add first name. It's a string. I need them to have a first name, so let's make them required. And this is my contact's first name. I could provide enum values, but that doesn't really make sense for a first name, so we'll continue. We'll add a last name, also required. I'll add my contact's last name. Last name, cool. We'll add an email, which is not going to be required. Contacts, oh goodness, contacts, email. We'll add a cell
So the
phone.
reason he's putting this information is this is providing the context to the context to the LLM, so it knows
LLM,
what to look for, right?
Yes.
It knows now that it needs to look for these things, and so you give it a description, and it can figure that out.
Okay.
So I've now defined my 5 input parameters. There's a testing tab here. We're not going to, which is nice. You can like generate sample information, edit it, and send tests and things. It's kind of fun, but we're not going to do that right now because it's much more fun to do it from Claude. So we'll create this tool. This isn't shipped yet, so there's not a convenient button where you can click to copy all of the config information for this. So instead, I'm going to go configure it manually, which is much more fun.
Oof.
So I'm going to go back to my settings here, and I'm going to hide this because it's about to show my admin API key. And I'm going to go to
I should say that the configuring MCP servers and these chat apps is just really getting out of the developer stage and into more end user friendly stuff.
Yes.
I would expect eventually it's going to be like, I mean, you already can in some cases. If you've got OAuth for your authentication, you can just put in a URL and click connect, and it'll connect you up to it. But right now, we're still it's still a little bit early. So the easiest way to do this is to go through the developer configs.
And then the authorization for this is a data API key instead of an admin API key, which is nice. So you can give someone, the nice thing about data API keys is that you can give someone a data API key. They can use it to use the data API, OData if you enable it, and MCP servers. But if the person suddenly starts calling you names and you need to fire them, you can delete the data API key, and now they can't access any of your data because they don't have a login to the file, maybe. If they have a login to the file, you have other problems. But
yeah. Exactly.
Okay, I'm going to save this file. I'm going to close it. I'm going to go quit Claude again. Restart it.
This stuff needs to be built into FileMaker. I mean, I know we're using your tool and you guys are doing great stuff, but this really, the ability to take a...
There's no question. And I know they're working on it. And they have they've got a big ship to move. We could just move fast.
Yeah, you guys are pretty
it's
nimble.
true. They have a lot. They have Apple Enterprise stuff.
Yeah.
They got a lot of things they have to do that are challenging and slows them down. It's not their fault. It's not like they're not trying. It's just harder to move a big ship. We are fast. We're nimble. We've already got OttoFMS installed on 3,000 servers. All we have to do is put this in there, and it's there. It works.
Wow,
so we're just moving as fast as we can because the AI world is moving faster, and we could wait, but I don't want to wait.
No. I'm just saying that's the problem with having you on the show. This is the problem with having you on the show, Todd. You're a really demoralizer. We're going to call Todd the demoralizer. You need to call
Look, AutoFMS is free. You don't have to pay a dime for it.
I know, but
so just be happy.
Okay, Todd, be happy. Todd, the enthusiastic motivator.
There you go.
There we go.
We're just trying to knock down doors and make this stuff easy for people, and we're trying to remove the roadblocks as much as we can, like making things free whenever we can, so that people can get to the next level. That's our entire strategy.
Kyle, you need to show this working. Let's skip the part where this works.
Yeah. Okay, so you saw the tool. There's one tool. I now have a starting point thing over here. I'm going to toggle this on. You'll see in here it has a create contact tool. I'll say, let's create a new contact.
No. Well.
And starting point. There. Oh, goodness. Their name is...
So while he's typing this, you could drag a business card in here and it worked just fine.
Thank you. Do something like that, right? Copy it
out. I don't have
a
business card handy, but...
You can totally do that.
You could.
And it's just any image with text on it will work.
And Their phone
I like,
number.
like a wanted poster, like on a milk carton, like Rick
That'll work
Kalman
too.
hasn't been seen in 6 months. He's on a milk carton. Take a
That'll
picture
work
of the
too.
milk carton, stick it on there, add it to the database.
So this will say,
Ugh.
this is his name, this is his email, this is his cell phone. You're like, cool, go for it. And it runs and it's like, great, done. And if I go into starting point, which I've lost.
Wouldn't we just, on
It's
something like that,
not
say
that.
approve all the time?
You'll see here, exist.
It depends. You can certainly say allow all the time if you trust the tool. It's helpful for us when we're demoing to not, so you can see it.
Oh,
But
I got
certainly,
it.
I set mine to
Yeah,
allow.
I'm like, because once you know it's
Yeah.
gonna.
You know it's gonna work. It's like
There it
might
is.
as well.
Yeah,
But
but you need
once
to-
when you first add an MCP server, it asks for every tool, and just like
No, I get that.
carte
I
blanche.
want you to give it something harder because I want the AI to actually earn its keep instead of you just, you're giving it baby. It's like Gerber
So-
baby food.
But we're not. But it's not. So just to hang on for a second. Nothing. So what we're doing is as complex as the AI really cares. Like you're just writing scripts, right? Whatever your script does can be as complicated as you want it to be. Have it create 100,000 records. Claude doesn't care. Do whatever. The part that we've enabled here is connect the LLM to a script.
No, right. What I'm
That's
saying
it.
is give the LLM something more challenging besides create a thing in this exact database with these exact values, right? I want the LLM to.
Well, so I mean, we'll show some more of that tomorrow. I don't think we'll have time to. We'll show the business card trick. I mean, there's again any way that you get data into that context, you could create a contact.
Can
from
I
that.
kindly suggest everyone that we saw it? For those of you who did not see the business card demo from last,
We'll show it tomorrow. We'll show it tomorrow.
Oh, not just that, you can have it, right? They can have it, right?
Yeah.
Tomorrow, they can get it themselves. Yes.
Yeah, you can actually. You get it tomorrow. But you need to understand the parts that we're doing here.
I
Because these are
understand.
the parts that connect you to
I
it.
like to excite people first about the awesomeness, kind of like what you did at the beginning, and then show them how to create the awesomeness. Yeah. So because that is, you want the AI to help you. Like your demo at the beginning, Todd, was just off the hook. I mean, that's like one of the best openers.
Right. So imagine
ever.
that one of those tools in there was maybe the timesheet that you create is in your FileMaker file.
Well, that's what we do at RCC. Right? We do a time.
So there you go.
RCC.
So now you can have a script with once the timesheet is set up and ready, you just go boom, creates a timesheet for that user. That's so we're again just making the difficult part super easy so you can get on to building the parts that matter to you, which is like create a timesheet record in starting point. Well, any more questions? Kyle just did a pretty cool demo here, by the way. You see this?
That was huge. Kyle, repeat what you just did for us. What'd you just do?
So I added a new tool, which is called Find Contact. In my FileMaker file, there's a script called MCP Find Contact. This is a very easy script. It takes in a parameter which has a user prompt as a key. It then creates an AI account. It does a perform find by natural language. It does some error trapping, and then it returns the response from the perform find to my tool.
I have a question, Richard. Yes.
What's up, Craig?
If you had a defined script and a process you put in here where it emails a contact,
it would do it.
Could you say AI or Claude? There's 5 people that live in Florida.
Yes.
And they're all going to get washed away in a hurricane. Can I remind them and send an email and remind them to back up their FileMaker server before the hurricane hits? Yes. And it would do the find, cross connect that it can send the email and then send that out.
Yes. Yes. That's what we're talking about. So here's another one. You go to a trade show or you go somewhere and you get a spreadsheet full of contact information, right?
Yes.
You get a CSV, you got a whole bunch of stuff from a bunch of new contacts from something. You take that CSV, you drag it into Claude, you say, here's some new contacts. Check and see if we got any of these in our database. And if we don't, create them.
Add them.
Okay?
Oh!
You see what I'm saying? That's all within the realm of what we're talking about here. Because again, the hard part is just connecting it to the script. That's like the part we just made easy. So now Claude is great at reading CSVs. Just throw it a CSV and say, or just like copy an email thread out of your email, right? And say any contact, any email address that's in this thread, if we don't have them in our database, add it, right? You get it?
No, there are comments about this as being really awesome and exciting, which it is. So that is correct.
So notice what we glossed over there because it quickly becomes so awesome and so common that we don't even talk about it. But that tool, that script that Kyle wrote there to connect this up, itself makes a call to AI. So it takes whatever the user says, like find all the contacts in Florida, and figures out how, with a natural language, generate with a perform find by natural language, right? So now FileMaker is using a model. So we have Claude, one AI model running in Claude agent. It talks to the FileMaker file. That FileMaker file has another little AI thing in there. And so that AI thing now figures out how to do the right find, creates the find for you, and sends that data back. So now you have data that's actually based on your database.
Right.
Two levels of AI.
And the way I defined this tool, is just that it's passing along a prompt for the search, the find. So when I called this in Claude, I don't know if you saw it, the argument is literally just Florida.
Yeah.
So we did all that by just saying Florida. And you can see here, it looked at all of their primary state province 1 FL. And, I could do, find me contacts whose name starts with A. And it's going to go off and it's going to make a find by natural language and find me all the contacts whose name starts with A. And it's just going to say, name starts with A. And I'll say, yeah, do it. So it's doing a relatively simple transformation here, but it's taking what I said, it's converting it into a prompt, it's sending that prompt to the database. The database is saying, oh, I have a prompt. And then it's going off and making its own find using that prompt and then performing that find.
And don't forget, within Claude, you can also do things like just say, hey, can you make a table for this information?
So ask Claude to make a table. It'll say, oh, sure. It spits me out this nice table that has all their phone numbers and where they live and their emails.
Now you can copy that and paste it into anything you want, right? So you didn't have to do an export script here.
Yeah. This needs to be a core staple skill set for every last FileMaker developer.
It actually does, and that's why we're not waiting.
Got it.
That's why, we don't, because you just have to have this.
We need this. We need this today. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you do. It's called OttoFMS. You can go download it. I'll put it on.
Well, we're doing more tomorrow. So we're doing more of this tomorrow. Is that what we're doing tomorrow?
We're doing more tomorrow. This will be similar, except we're going to take the whole chat. We're going to take Claude and we're going to shove it into FileMaker itself. And there's advantages and there's pros and cons to each of these. MCP servers with Claude is pretty easy. There's not a lot to do. You just write some scripts. You're good. But you don't get the tight integration that you'll see with what we can do tomorrow. So you're in a different app. You have Claude here and you have your FileMaker file over here, and they're communicating, but the one side they don't know that much about each other. But once we take proof chat, which is like Claude, put it into the FileMaker app, and now you have that capability tightly integrated with FileMaker, and you can do some things that'd be very difficult to do with Claude, which will look like.
Okay.
Well, like
this conversation go on for a very long time. All right, everyone here, is anyone else excited to come back tomorrow and see Todd do tomorrow? See Todd do Todd tomorrow. See Todd do Todd. I don't know. I'm so excited. I can't even talk anymore. Margaret, what do you got?
Yes, I think people are excited to come see Todd return. Instead of acting directly to Cloud, could it be anything else? Like, what do you mean, David?
We don't have enough nouns there.
Instead of asking directly to Cloud, could be anything else. WhatsApp, Messenger, web page, etc. Like, yeah.
Claude is a front end, a chat for an LLM, right? So
it's for Anthropic's LLM.
So if anything has an API,
like ChatGPT, it's a little more developer friendly. It's really good at code, and it's a little more developer friendly. So that's what I use most of the time. But it's like ChatGPT, and you can do the same thing with ChatGPT that we just showed today.
Okay.
I think we touched on it earlier. I think the two examples I showed here were relatively simplistic. You could do anything. You write a script, it'll run the script. It'll take your input parameters, it'll do it. You could write, this MCP servers, they'll support probably 100 tools. I maybe wouldn't put in that many, but they'll support probably up to that without getting too confused. So you put in descriptions, you put in titles that make sense. You'll talk to it, it'll figure out which tool it needs, it'll take the parameters, it'll run it. So you can write highly complex scripts that do highly complex logic but have 3 inputs. You can
And you
run away
don't
with
need
that.
to make, so part of what this does is it cuts down the amount of UI that you might need to make, right? Because like somebody would call you up and say, hey man, can you make me an export that exports my contacts? And now if they have Claude, they can just do that themselves.
Yeah, you could tell the customer, yeah, you could pay me a lot of money. You can just talk to your AI, right?
Well,
So
you got to but you got to give it the scripts to do it right. Like
Hey, about to
correct.
say,
You gotta
like,
do it.
your job is now to make the AIs do it correctly. So it doesn't get rid of the work that you as a developer have to do, but it makes the work that you do more leveraged, because if you write a script and you prompt it up properly and make it really good, then the AIs can figure out more ways to use it, right? You don't have to figure out every possible thing the customer ever wanted. You just give out tools that the customer can use. And now the customer gets to decide how they use those things. So it's not replacing stuff. One of the things that my least favorite part of FileMaker is layout mode. I'm not a fan. It's really it's hard. It takes a lot of work. It's very difficult to push things around all day, and I'm used to things just kind of aligning and resizing, and themes are difficult. It's challenging. Layouts are the
Yeah.
hardest thing in FileMaker as far as I'm concerned. With these kinds of tools, I can write less layouts. I can still make really good scripts. I can make really good data layouts. I can use AI to do the natural language finds. I can do all that kind of stuff. But now, instead of making a UI that the user interacts with, I can just interact with the Claude and do it. And that's what I prefer to do. So for the internal tools, our billing system actually runs through FileMaker at the end of the day. I don't go to that either. I just use Claude to communicate with that, because now I don't have to go and log into the FileMaker file, and that takes time. It's all right there. It's all in my Claude. All the things that I need to do. Sometimes I have to turn off tools I'm not using so that Claude doesn't, if it's got 10,000 tools in there, it's going to get very confused. So you might have to, say, I'm only doing billing, so I just need these tools, that kind of thing. So
Yeah, if you give
so
it too many options,
it shifts the workload away from layouts and lots of reporting and things like that. You can just say you can have a script that gets the sales numbers for the last month, and then the user can just go, give me the sales numbers for the last month and show it to me in a chart, and Claude will put it out in a chart. But you still have to write the script that gets the sales numbers right.
Yeah.
Otherwise, Claude might hallucinate the numbers and get them wrong, right? So it moves the work that you have to do from out of so much layout work and into more like making sure the data is right, making sure the scripts are right, making sure that the MCP server is set up correctly, writing any other AI layers that you want to that, and then the customer can just use
This
Claude.
is a huge revelationary, that's not even a real word, moment. I just hallucinated real words. But yes.
Well, that's what Claude does. So is this breaking through, Richard? Are we getting through that head?
Big time. I'm actually, what I want to do is I want to sit and build this myself step by step. And we've done training sessions with that before.
Well, you're gonna have to stop being a firefighter, helicopter pilot.
I'm done. Today was my last day. I'm done. I turned it in.
Hang up your boots.
The Black Hawk has been returned to the hangar. It's done.
Become a
until
normal
next year.
non-hero human. And just get back to work.
Non-hero. When we get back to work, yeah, I know. It's like, just get back to your desk. Like, man, it was so fun.
Listen, in LA, firefighters are heroes. Let me just tell you right now.
I am very excited about tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be very, very good. So Todd's going to be back. I'm excited. I'm actually really, really excited.
Just for people to remember that what we just showed there, that's all OttoFMS. This is free. It's been available forever. I don't know why I guess my Zoom is slowing down my page loading here. There it is.
No, it's your little snitch screen share thing.
Yeah.
It just noticed.
So you can download this. This is for free. This will give you the admin MCP servers and the ability to write. Well, we don't have the scripts in yet. Kyle's going to release that version. The last stuff we saw where it's calling scripts, so we'll release that probably next week. But you can do the admin MCP stuff now. So you can hook up your Claude to your FileMaker servers and say, hey, what files do I have? What's the latest info? You can get information like what's the CPU usage and things like that. It's all there.
Oh, okay.
So that's that. That's today.
Wow,
tomorrow,
that's a full day.
Chat.
Tomorrow, so everyone bring your questions today because tomorrow's going to be a continuation largely of this conversation, but you get to take it home tomorrow. It's just idea.
Yes, people are saying, tomorrow's going to be really interesting. So
you can take this home too. Don't forget.
No, we will. But yeah, well, yeah. Well, the problem is I can't.
We're really close. We're really close to 3,000 servers that Otto's running on. So you guys got to out there in RCC FileMaker training land. You got to push that number over 3,000. That's where we're going.
If you've
Smash
gotten
that like
FileMaker
button.
servers under your desk, just install it on there.
Install
Even if you're
it
not
on
going to use
there.
it, just put it on there.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, folks, everyone. Awesome. We'll see you tomorrow. It's been a long show. Awesome. If you have questions about this, come back tomorrow. But you can also, if they want to reach out to you and ask you a random question, Kyle or Todd, do you guys have or do you send people to the forum?
Yeah.
The
Go to community.automatic.cloud. That's the place.
Community.otto, O-T-T, not
OTT.
A-U. Yeah.
Automatic.cloud.
Okay.
And that's where Proof Chat's community support will be.
Okay, cool.
So the Proof Chat, the free version does not have email support at all. Like we won't help you. Sorry, but you can come to the community and ask questions, and we'll help you there. And so will other people. Hopefully, it's just the way we kind of have to do it is because it's free.
Yeah.
We couldn't really do email
any other
support.
way. Yeah, I know we have the same kind of problem.
Yeah, and so yeah, and then the pro version of Proof Chat will be out in a week or so, and that will let you get more access to more paid help, and you can remove the branding and the ads that are in there.
Okay, cool.
The ads are just for Automatic. It's not a big deal. It's just like for our hosting platform. So
okay, cool.
We hope it's a fair trade-off that you get, and they're only on like the settings page. It's not in the main app.
Cool. We'll have to look at the pricing on that, see how much that is. If it's reasonable, we can get the pro.
Well, you won't need it because your customers have to license it themselves, unless you really want to do the whole thing, and that's an enterprise license, and you're gonna have to give me your helicopter for that.
Yeah, it's a lot of money, I'm sure. Yeah,
I don't know. We don't know what it's going to be because we're still figuring that out. But currently you can, like I said, Proof Chat. You'll be able to distribute in demo files and anything you want. The only thing is that the end user has to go and get a license key from us. They have to give us their email, and that's it. It's the only thing we ask.
All right, cool. Well, we'll cover this and repeat everything. Everyone missed stuff today, but it's awesome. Good stuff. All right. That's it for today.
Thanks so much.
Thank you, everyone. We will see you tomorrow. Yes, people posting, I'm so excited gifts. Yes. Bye, everybody.